What's up, you guys? Coming back at y'all with another Commander Secrets video. This time we're going to be taking a look at a card that is very similar to a lot of other cards earlier in this series, where we fooled around with copying creatures, and even considering the legend rule, we could fool around with some ETB triggers, some death triggers, and since this is very closely related to it, this is going to be kind of a breeze to go over. If you watched some of those earlier videos, you're going to already know a lot of the interactions with this card, because it is quite simple. Mirror Gallery is a 5-mana artifact from Betrayers of Kamigawa, and the legend rule doesn't apply. That's it. That's all the card does. Fools around with a ruling. If you're unfamiliar with the legend rule, if a player controls 2 or more legendary permanents of the same name when state-based effects are checked, that player chooses one of those permanents and immediately puts the others into their owner's graveyard. So if they're creatures, then technically those creatures would just die. They're not sacrificed, they're not destroyed, they just die. So there's pretty much no way to avoid that from happening other than this card. So it's very unique. It's really the only card that fools around with rulings like this. So right off the bat, you have to consider some really awesome legendary creatures, because that's really where this card is going to shine. It doesn't see a ton of play, believe it or not, but where it does see play, any sort of deck where copying your commander is going to be really powerful. For instance, one creature that I referenced a lot with those other videos is Reaper King, because Reaper King has a really cool interaction with scarecrows entering the battlefield. So imagine getting something like a Rite of Replication, putting a ton of those Reaper Kings out there. Not only do you get those Reaper Kings entering the battlefield like you normally would, but you get to keep those Reaper Kings, so whenever you want to just normally clone them, you get a ton of those triggers, and they get to stick around for all of your other scarecrows that you want to have enter the battlefield, which is a really cool thing. And it's also worth noting other similar commanders like Omnath Locus of Rage that also do this kind of thing with elementals. Having more Omnaths is just amazing for that. But if you want to talk about just brutality and having multiple copies of your commander, look no further than Grand Arbiter Augustine, a deck that is already meant to piss off your opponents, tax them into oblivion. Having multiple copies of a Grand Arbiter is going to do that pretty well, while also making your blue and white spells cost even cheaper than they would before. Now, just a quick disclaimer here, legendary permanents are still considered legendary. It's not like this is going to get around Kiki-Jiki. Kiki-Jiki specifically says non-legendary creature. So while the legend rule doesn't apply, Kiki-Jiki still can't target legendary creatures. And remember one of the earlier cards that I had in the series, Blade of Selves? This is even better because you don't just focus on creatures with good ETBs or good death triggers anymore. You care about creatures that are good in combat. So if you have something like Elesh Norn, oh boy is that going to be powerful, because in combat you're going to have a ton of +2/+2s for all of your creatures, so those Elesh Norns are going to be massive, and your opponent's creatures are pretty much going to die. Even if they do end up leaving because of the Blade of Selves, they're still going to put in a ton of work. So a lot of potential here with Mirror Gallery. Kind of a surprise that it hasn't been reprinted yet. It's really one of those out there commander cards that I think would fit in pretty well in a precon. The combo potential is there, but it's not something overwhelming. It's going to see some French play. It's not one of those super powerful combo cards, but it does have that potential nevertheless. But anyway, guys, that's going to be about it for this video. Not really a complicated card, but the interactions are definitely noteworthy, very interesting, and definitely something to keep an eye out for. I don't think the chances of it being reprinted are that great, although I think it can be reprinted. It's very weird. It wouldn't really work out that well on Limited. Maybe in Dominaria it could, but who knows. As always, Void here signing off. You guys have a wonderful day. See you all next video.